Hello, I'm Linda.
And I'm Michelle. Prior to joining the Better Beginnings team at the State Library of Western Australia, both Linda and I worked in public libraries where we were responsible for the delivery of the Better Beginnings program. We were fortunate enough to be invited by our respective local child health clinics to give presentations at new parent groups, which allowed us to deliver the Better Beginnings messages directly to parents. The purpose of this video is to assist you with planning your own presentation to parents of newborn babies. We'll provide suggestions about the content to include and the resources required in order to deliver these messages most effectively.
New parent groups are also called early parenting groups, and in the past were called mothers groups. They are usually organised by child health nurses or other parenting experts and are run as a series of weekly sessions for parents with newborn babies. Parents learn about things like feeding, sleeping, play and development. For public libraries, they are a great opportunity to make connections with the new parents in your community and share your knowledge about how parents can support their child's early literacy development.
A great way to start your presentation is to talk about brain development. 75% of brain development occurs in the first 3 years of life. An engaging way to illustrate this point is to use some homemade props which represent brains. We made this set of brains ourselves using stockings and salt. You can find instructions for making your own set of brains on the Better Beginnings website. By having your own set of brains, you can demonstrate in a very tangible way how important the first 3 years of life are in relation to brain development.
By physically holding up a newborn-sized brain and telling the group that this is the approximate size and weight of a brain belonging to a newborn, and doing the same with an adult-sized brain, the question can then be posed to the group: what age is the person that the medium-sized brain belongs to? Ask the group to respond with their best guess. Once you've received responses from the group, you can inform them that it is the approximate size and weight of a brain belonging to a 3-year-old. This can often be a very surprising and effective illustration for those who didn't realise how quickly brain development occurs and therefore what a critical period the first 3 years are.
This provides a great way to lead into a discussion about why it's so important to regularly expose children to books, rhymes and songs in their first 3 years in order to support their language and literacy development during this period of rapid brain growth. Research has shown that language and literacy development in early childhood plays a critical role in school readiness and subsequent academic achievement.
Early literacy is what a child knows about reading and writing before they learn to read and write. Research from the United States in the early 2000s indicated that a significant percentage of children were entering kindergarten without the early literacy skills they needed to learn to read and write. The Every Child Ready to Read publication was released in the United States in 2004 by the Public Library Association and the Association for Library Service to Children. It was in this publication that the 6 early literacy skills were first introduced: print motivation, print awareness, letter knowledge, vocabulary, phonological awareness and narrative skills. It was acknowledged that libraries had the ability to reach thousands of parents and caregivers, and that they have an important role to play in encouraging and educating parents in how to support early literacy development in their children.
A review of Every Child Ready to Read revealed that many library professionals wanted simplified terminology to make communication with parents and caregivers clearer. The second edition of Every Child Ready to Read replaced the academic jargon of the 6 early literacy skills with 5 simple but powerful practices that can be promoted to parents and caregivers to help young children get ready to learn to read. Whilst the 6 early literacy skills are essential knowledge for library staff, and we go into these in detail in a separate training video, the 5 home literacy practices are easier to communicate to parents. Our recommendation is to use the 5 early literacy practices as a structure on which to build a new parents group presentation. This structure allows you to talk about all of the essential messages of the Better Beginnings program, promote your own library's early childhood programs, and provide parents with ways to include home literacy practices in family life in a way that you can tailor for your audience or community.
For each home literacy practice, we will provide you with examples of both research-based and anecdotal information that you could include in your presentation. We suggest that you select which information is most suitable for your group and add in tips or facts that are most relevant to these families.
The 5 home literacy practices are read, talk, sing, write and play.
Let's talk about singing. Researchers at the University of Montreal reported in September 2015 that babies aged 6 to 9 months old stayed calmer almost twice as long when listening to a singing voice than to a speaking voice.
Singing helps babies and young children to learn and remember new words. Music is a memory aid for all ages. It also helps them to learn new concepts such as colours, letters of the alphabet, and spatial concepts such as under, over, up and down. Singing allows children to hear the smaller sounds in words. This is fundamental to their language development.
When children sing action rhymes like Incy Wincy Spider, Open Shut Them and Twinkle Twinkle, they practice their hand-eye coordination and develop their fine motor skills. Children learn through all of their senses, including touch, and sensory rhymes like Round and Round the Garden reinforce the language learning.
Singing can help parents to calm an upset baby and distract a bored toddler without needing toys and games packed in their baby bag. Singing also allows parents to have fun with their babies. Bouncing, tickling and cuddling while singing with the baby is special shared time. It can be a wonderful bonding experience.
Parents often need a nursery rhyme refresher if they haven't sung songs for children since their own childhood. Point out the resources that are in the Better Beginnings pack they have received and promote your library's Rhyme Time service. The next home literacy practice is writing.
Drawing and scribbling are a child's earliest forms of writing. These activities are important for the development of the fine motor skills that a child needs to learn to write when they start school. Encourage parents to provide opportunities for children to practice their writing by making writing materials available for their child. For example, paper and crayons, a blackboard and chalk, or even chalk on a pavement or driveway. Other examples are a whiteboard and marker, a stick and sandpit, or an Etch-a-Sketch.
There are many simple activities which can be incorporated into a child's play to provide experiences that develop coordination and strengthen the muscles in their hands. For example, singing rhymes and songs which have finger actions like Twinkle Twinkle, playing with Play-Doh, opening and closing clothes pegs, squeezing sponges, scrunching paper into balls, and cutting with scissors.
Some other ideas to help children understand the purpose of writing and printed words are things like encouraging toddlers to contribute writing to greeting cards given to family members and friends, and encouraging conversations when they take interest in adults writing, for example, a shopping list.
Encourage parents to develop their child's understanding of colours and shapes. Knowledge of colours and shapes provides a child with the tools for learning many skills, including maths, science, language and reading. When a child can observe the similarities and differences between colours and shapes, they are using the same skills that they will need to tell the difference between letters and numbers. Recognising shapes is an important pre-reading skill because letters are made up of shapes or parts of shapes. The first step to understanding letters is learning the difference between various basic shapes such as circles, squares, triangles and rectangles. Children also benefit from learning words that are used to describe shapes, for example, round and straight. Parents can encourage children to develop these skills by playing with shape puzzles, playing shape and colour sorting games with simple household items, pointing out and talking about the shapes and colours they see around them, and talking about the colours and shapes they see in the books they read together.
The next home literacy practice we'll discuss is reading. According to the Australian Early Development Census results from 2015, 17% of 5-year-old children starting school in Western Australia are developmentally vulnerable or at risk in their language and cognitive skills. Research about reading to young children, published by the University of Melbourne in 2013, revealed that reading to a 4 to 5-year-old child 3 to 5 days a week makes them 6 months ahead of their peers, and reading to a 4 to 5-year-old child 6 to 7 days per week puts them 12 months ahead of their peers. The research also found that children who are read to more frequently at age 4 to 5 achieve higher scores on NAPLAN tests for both reading and numeracy in Year 3, and that they maintain that advantage as they get older, regardless of their socio-economic background.
The Dymocks Literacy Foundation commissioned a survey in 2005 in which more than 80% of parents, regardless of income, agreed that it is important for parents to read to their children. Despite this, almost half of the parents surveyed admitted they did not read to their children on a daily basis. The survey also found that a third of parents with children aged 1 to 4 years read to their children for less than 10 minutes a day on average. At the time, the ABS reported that Australians spent an average of 2 hours per day watching TV.
The story of Kevin, the little boy who inspired Wendy Cooling to initiate the Book Start program in the UK, is a powerful illustration of why programs like Book Start and Better Beginnings are important for improving literacy rates. Wendy Cooling is an early literacy expert who in 1991 was working at Book Trust at the time. Wendy was often invited to visit schools, libraries, bookshops and publishers. One day in 1991, Wendy visited a classroom where 5-year-olds were attending their first day of school. The teacher was helping each child cope with the moment of separation from their parents by settling each of them on the mat with a picture book to look at. This was all going well until a little boy called Kevin arrived. He was well dressed and appeared to be a healthy, normal 5-year-old. The other children were busy looking at their books. Most of them turned pages, pointed to the illustrations and named things out loud. When Kevin was handed his book, he had no idea what to do with it. He tried sitting on the book, sniffing it, bending it and throwing it like a frisbee. It was very clear to Wendy that he had never had a book in his hands before and that he had failed the very first thing that he was ever asked to do at school. Wendy knew that Kevin was not the only child starting school without this knowledge, and that large numbers of parents who otherwise cared for their children and wanted the best for them left books and reading to teachers at school.
This was the inspiration for Book Start, which in turn inspired the Better Beginnings program. Better Beginnings supports parents in reading to children so that they build the early literacy skills they need to become good readers and succeed at school from the first day.
When you are delivering your presentation, encourage parents to read to their babies every day from birth. This is the most important message of the Better Beginnings program. Some practical hints that you can give to parents about reading to their baby includes things like avoiding distractions by turning off the TV or radio and putting away your phone, and choosing a time of the day when their baby is rested and not hungry. Encourage parents to incorporate reading time into their daily routine. It's easier and more enjoyable than they might expect. Another tip for parents is to make sure it's a positive experience. If it is going badly, it is okay to stop and try again at another time.
During your presentation, show your audience some examples of good books for babies, such as those with high contrast illustration. This book has no text and the colour scheme provides something for little eyes to focus on. When faced with a textless book, parents can talk about what they see on the page. The hard pages make it possible for babies to hold and chew the book, and these early physical experiences of books are important too. I also like to show a good board book series to parents. One of the recommendations is the Usborne That's Not My series.
During the presentation, model reading a book to a baby. Choose a book which is developmentally appropriate for babies, such as Baby Ways. Most parents will receive this book in their Yellow Better Beginnings bag, and they'll be able to share the book with their baby at home. Demonstrate to parents the reading triangle and encourage them to use it regularly. The reading triangle is a shared reading position in which the child sits to one side of the parent's lap. In that way, the positions of the parent, child, and book form the 3 points of a triangle. This allows the parent and child to see each other as well as read the book. Parents can read and talk about the parts of the page that their child is looking at and respond to the way the child is engaging with the book. It also allows the child to see the facial expressions made by their parent as they read, which helps provide meaning to the words.
It is a great opportunity at this stage of the presentation to promote story time and library membership at your library. It is a good chance to let parents know that even babies are eligible to become library members. Depending on the permissions required at your library service, you may be able to register parents and children as new library members on the spot.
The fourth home literacy practice is talking.
Researchers in Baltimore, USA, found that a child born into poverty hears 30 million fewer spoken words by age 3 than a child born to well-off parents. This creates a gap in literacy preparation that has implications for a lifetime. A study by Meredith Rowe in 2012 also had some interesting findings. She found that a child's vocabulary at 30 months was influenced by the quantity of words a parent used in the previous year, and a child's vocabulary at 42 months was also influenced by the words used by its parents in the previous year, specifically their use of a variety of sophisticated words. Rowe's study highlights the importance of using and modelling quality language with rich vocabulary, especially for children aged 2 to 3 years.
From 3 to 18 months, a baby's speech develops dramatically. A parent might hear them babbling and cooing, making simple sounds like da da da, and communicating in non-verbal ways, for instance, shaking their heads for no. All babies will develop their language at different rates, but for parents to support this development, all they need to do is talk with their child.
Encourage parents to talk about anything. They can narrate their day as they go about it and then recap it again at the end of the day. For very young children who can't yet speak, parents should be encouraged to speak for them and answer any questions themselves that they may have posed. Parents can show interest in their baby's first attempts by repeating any sounds that they make back to them, as well as maintaining eye contact and giving their baby lots of smiles. If you accompany your words, particularly new or unusual words, with actions, gestures or facial expressions, it can help your child understand the meaning of the words. For example, when modelling the word up, lift your child up or point upwards.
The message that needs to be conveyed to parents is that even though your child may not be talking to you, it is still important to talk to your child every day. Another way for parents to build more talking into their day is to use a textless book. Some good examples are the books Hug and Tall, both by Jez Alborough. This allows parents who don't find it easy to be talkative with their young child to have a prop that they can use to talk about what they see on each page.
That brings us to the final home literacy practice, playing. In a literate society, children pretend to be readers and writers just as they pretend to be shoppers and drivers of cars. Playing is a child's work and it is how they learn best. It is important to play with your child, and as everyone is busy, remind parents that small bits of focused attention here and there can be just as worthwhile as a large chunk where it is easy for both the child and parent to become distracted.
There are many inexpensive resources that parents can be encouraged to have available for their child. For example, musical instruments can take the form of a homemade rice shaker or pots and pans with a wooden spoon. Allowing children to tap out a beat will help them develop the early literacy skill of phonological awareness, which is their awareness that words are made up of smaller sounds. Old clothes, scarves, hats and masks all make fantastic dress-ups for imaginary play. Props such as these provide great opportunities for reenacting stories and rhymes, which all contributes to children developing narrative skills, which is their ability to tell a story and describe events in order.
Play-Doh is great for building the muscle strength in children's fingers and hands, which helps them get ready for writing. Easy Play-Doh recipes can be found online so parents can make their own. Blocks and puppets are also wonderful resources for play. Cardboard boxes of different sizes make inexpensive and fun blocks which are great for stacking and knocking. Inexpensive puppets can be made from paper bags, paper plates and wooden spoons. Favourite characters from stories can be recreated using these resources, and these props can be then used to retell the story.
This is a good point in your presentation to promote any toy libraries that you may have in your local area.
The research, anecdotes and tips that we have provided in this video have been summarised in a checklist document that you can use to customise your own new parent group presentations. This is available on the Better Beginnings website.
Best of luck delivering presentations to new parent groups in your community.